Okay, let's dive into what's happening in the Middle East, because a very high-stakes standoff is unfolding. We've got two major powers locked in a dangerous game that honestly could have consequences for the entire world, and it all centers on one tiny strip of water. You've got warships on the move. You've got missiles in the air. In one of the most critical sea lanes on the entire planet, military activity is ramping up, and it's pushed the United States and Iran closer to a flashpoint than they have been in years. It really forces us all to ask, just how close are we to an actual conflict? So, to really get a grip on how we got here, you have to look at the map. This isn't just some abstract political disagreement. Nope. This is a conflict playing out in the very epicenter of global energy. We're talking about a strait that is, quite literally, on edge. This waterway right here, the Strait of Hormuz, is the world's single most important oil choke point. That's no exaggeration. Think of it like a vital artery for the global economy. If that artery gets clogged, even for a day, the shockwaves are felt everywhere, instantly. And that's exactly why a regional standoff right here becomes a global crisis fast. And it's in this incredibly critical space that we're watching this dangerous game of strategic chess unfold. It's become this escalating cycle where every single move is met with a countermove, and each one just raises the stakes even higher. Here's how it's been playing out. The US signals a tougher posture, hinting that more military hardware might be moving toward the Gulf. And Tehran's response? It's not silence. It's the roar of rocket engines. They immediately accelerate their missile tests, putting their most advanced, high-capability weapons on full display. It's a real show of force. And the timing of these tests is absolutely everything. This wasn't just some routine exercise. It was a clear, strategic message pointed directly at Washington. It's designed to do one thing: show off Iran's growing defense capabilities and act as a powerful deterrent against any kind of potential strike. But look, this whole thing isn't happening in a bubble. The consequences of one wrong move here are so huge that the entire world is watching this unfold. Because the ripple effects, well, they would be felt everywhere. You've got other major powers, like Russia and China, who have their own strategic ties in the region. They're publicly calling for restraint, for dialogue. They see the same massive risks that everyone else does: a totally destabilized energy market, sending oil prices through the roof, and the terrifying possibility that this standoff could spiral into a much, much wider regional war. All of this pressure, it all circles right back to the central dilemma facing policymakers in Washington right now. And it is a deeply complex calculation. It's a high-stakes choice where, honestly, every single option is loaded with risk. I mean, look at the choice they're facing. It's a classic rock-and-a-hard-place situation. On one side, taking direct military action could be catastrophic. You're talking about threatening regional security, global oil supplies, and American troops. But on the other side, doing nothing also carries a heavy price: the potential for huge political costs, both at home and with international allies. There are just no easy answers here. Now, despite all this military posturing, the official line from U.S. officials is that the preferred path forward is diplomacy. We're told that behind the scenes, people are actively trying to open up channels, trying to de-escalate this thing, and bring both sides to the table. And on the other side, well, Iran's official stance is that its military posture is purely for defense. They've made it clear they are prepared to respond, and respond decisively, to any aggression. But they've also said they're open to negotiations, as long as their own conditions, like the lifting of sanctions, are part of the conversation. So after all that, where does this leave us? Well, it leaves us pretty much right where we started, on a knife's edge. The entire situation is fluid, it's unstable, and it is incredibly fragile. You have two sides, armed and on high alert, staring each other down in one of the most volatile regions on the planet. And all it would take to light this powder keg is a single miscalculation. And that leaves all of us with one final and pretty sobering thought. As these two powers continue this dangerous stance, with global stability just hanging in the balance, it forces us to ask a really fundamental question. In a standoff like this one, what does winning even look like?